All right, welcome in. Keep Show Podcast, college football podcast coming to you weekly. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I do have a couple thoughts on some things around college football and wanted to discuss some things I'm hearing from different coaches before we get to a breakdown of a couple different players. So kind of know your portal players, what you're getting, maybe versus what you've heard you're getting, and then a little bit of technical information on what I've seen from some of these guys. Some of these are going to be hidden gems. Some are going to be players that are very well known, but you may not study their game, see different aspects of what they do that I like. We're going to kind of keep this short and sweet, not really try to go too far in, give you quick episodes we're going to be able to watch over the next few weeks, and then you can get to know some of the players on your roster a little bit better. We're brought to you by Wickles Pickles every week, wickedly delicious. We have them. We snack on them. We love them here in our house. Wickedly delicious. Go to wicklespickles.com. You can pick up the gear. You can have them drop shipped to your house. Ask for them in your grocery store. And if they are on the menu at a restaurant, order that menu and say you did it because they had Wickles Pickles. Quarterback recruiting, something that I think is interesting moving forward. We saw, obviously, Carson Beck take Miami to the national championship game, and now it looks like Miami is going to land Darian Mensah, former Tulane and Duke quarterback, and they're just going to continue to roll with this philosophy. Also, Josh Hoover, super talented quarterback from TCU, is going to go to Indiana. So that's Rourke, Mendoza, now Hoover. It looks like Indiana is going to be on board with that again. So I've asked a question to a lot of coaches that I know and had conversations about how you're going to build your roster moving forward. Now, part of this we have to sort of put an asterisk next to. We don't understand what revenue sharing is going to look like in the future. We don't know where NIL, I did quote fingers there if you're listening to the podcast, because there's truly the actual real NIL is limited. We know that. How many guys do you see on billboards? How many guys do you see in commercials? How many people do you see these players actually promoting things on their Instagram? There's some, not saying there's not any, but not to the extent the guys are getting paid to go play different places, which is fine, whatever, they deserve it, but just let's not act like all of NIL is real. What's that going to be like in the future as well? We don't really know. Kind of stole this from Mari Wasserman, who I think stumbled upon it accidentally talking to Andy Staples on their podcast last week. Just what's the future of this going to look like? I have been blown away, surprised that the majority of the coaches that I've spoken to, when talking about building their roster in the future, are not going to gravitate towards the Indiana model. I do understand that a lot of those guys came from JMU, same system, great understanding of what was going to be asked of them, what they were going to do, but it's more the mentality of the guy that they've been able to get, sort of like what Bielema and Illinois are doing right now with the guys they've been able to get, or how they've developed guys that they've gotten into bringing a certain mindset into the team. It's not easy. It's not something I think anybody can do. That's why you're still going to hear about culture a lot, because these coaches are going to want to bring guys into how they operate and how they need their team to operate. And you're just not going to go be able to find Superman who can carry a team all the time. And I always believe that even the Superman, or let's say the Batman, needs a bunch of Robins around him to help prop him up to even put the team on his back and be able to carry him a lot of times if you're going to truly go on to be a great team. But that's why Indiana was so impressive this year. Team. They're one of the best teams I think I've ever watched play football because of the consistent level of execution, the lack of mistakes, not bickering with one another on the field. You don't see a lot of guys losing their temper. I mean, it epitomized what team is and team should be. Why are more coaches not being driven to that, or want to try and copy that, or at least take a portion of that to their team instead of just, oh, it's an emergency, we have to have a tight end, I guess we'll take this guy. It's going to be interesting to watch, because quarterback now, whatever the numbers have been the last few years, 70%, 80%, 65% of guys from each class are essentially transferring once, if not more than once. So what does that do to the high school quarterbacks coming out? How are we going to view that? Is it worth $2.5, $3, $8, $5 million to go get Johnny Five-Star, who there's been proven track record over time, 65% chance he's not going to be there? You look at Alabama's situation right now, two really young, talented quarterbacks. If Austin Mack wins that job, is Keelan Russell going to stay? Most people would expect the answer to that to be no. Now you have Deuce Knight going over to Ole Miss. What if Trinidad Chambliss gets this year back? Is he just going to be okay sitting? This Dylan Raiola situation going to Oregon, fascinating, because it felt like playing out of high school was something that was very important to him. Now he's willing to sort of sit back for a year and wait after he's been a starter legitimately for 2 years in college football. What will the high school quarterbacks be viewed as? Does this force coaches, not force, do more coaches maybe take the route of, we're going to go get 3-star guy that's an inch or two too short, or maybe doesn't have all the ability to push the ball down the field that we want, doesn't have the mobility that we think we need, but grew up loving this school, parents went to school here, dad played here, whatever that is. We think we can hang on to him for a couple of years as a developmental guy. And then at least you have that chemistry, that wherewithal of your system in your locker room with a quarterback on the roster moving forward. So I just don't know where it's going to go. I'm interested specifically in that high school quarterbacks that are highly coveted, because I think there was five-star quarterbacks in the Rivals final listings that they came out with. There's not a ton of them. You got one going to Houston, one going to Vandy, one going to Bama, and I mean they're not going to every school. And how many are going to stay at that school? So that initial investment you put in to get them, where does that go? Is that money better off putting into another position that either has that experience? Because that was, to me, the difference with Indiana. It's not how old they are. It's the experience that they had. These guys had played college football, a lot of them, and that helps you out a ton. So where does it go? I don't really know the answer to it. It's going to be fascinating to watch moving forward. All right, guys, Super Bowl right around the corner, so I got to tell you about my bookie. If there's ever a time to get in the game, it's right now. You're going to hear everybody talking about all these different props and everything happening with the Super Bowl. Where are you? What are you going to be on? How do you like? Who do you like? What part do you like? My bookie makes it stupid easy to play. You get one account, one wallet, bet the spread, live bet the second half, hit the casino during commercials. It's all in one place, and you have the power. Go to mybookie.ag now. Use promo code CUBE and get your first bet covered up to $500. That's right. First bet covered up to $500. If it doesn't hit, use your bet back bonus. You get to run it back, man. $500 essentially on MyBookie. Now you go to mybookie.ag, promo code CUBE, run it back if that 500 doesn't work with your bet back bonus token. Don't just watch the playoffs and the Super Bowl, college basketball happening right now as well. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie. Speaking of guys and players to watch moving forward, let's get to 3 players that you may or may not know that are going to be on different teams this year. And let's kind of break down what they are, what they're going to be. An obvious one I want to start with is Jordan Seaton, tackle that's heading to LSU. He is a 22-game starter, 6'5", 330 from Colorado, heading down to Baton Rouge. Good news for Jordan Seaton is the offense that he is going to move into to play does not ask a lot of high difficulty blocks from their offensive line. The ball is going to be out extremely quick. That is of assistance. They're going to slide their protection a lot. I know y'all hear me talking about it, and obviously I don't like it, but that's just part of what they do. There's not a ton of the downhill run game that you're going to be asked to consistently move guys for a long period of time. And tempo, even though it's tough on an offensive lineman, can work in your favor to wear the defense down. Screens, you're going to have to get out and run something that, oh, buddy, I'm going to show you a clip here in a minute of this young man on the move, and I promise you LSU fans are going to like what they're getting. All right, so what are you getting? When I watch Jordan Seaton on film, he doesn't look 330 pounds. He is, and I know he's number 1 tackle in the portal, whatever, but like Xavier Taplin was like number 3 tackle in the portal last year, and he wasn't great at Auburn. So I don't really care about the rankings. It's not what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to prove anything with that. But this young man, for his size, which you look at him, as one of my old offensive line coaches would say, God made a tackle when he made that man right there. I mean, fingertips almost down to his kneecaps, long, fairly flexible. We're going to talk about that as probably the biggest area of improvement that he could make for the rest of his college career. The feet are absolutely incredible. The body control is off the charts. This young man's ability to recover and put himself back in favorable positions when he's attempting to block someone is way past next level. Very different from a lot of young tackles I've seen over time. Now, one might say, why is he always getting himself in trouble? He's still young, and I'll give him credit. Like, he's creative. He tries some tricky stuff that I don't feel like is necessary sometimes in his pass sets. We'll take a look at one here in just a moment, but shows me he has confidence in his ability to go out there and try a one-handed inside stab move, or to try a quick set or a deep set and try to switch it up and change it up on those pass rushers to be able to keep them off balance a little bit and make them think just a little bit more. But this young man's ability is probably at the tackle position second to none in college football. Just how he moves, his body control at 330 plus pounds, and how nimble he is. And honestly, I'll say this, an understanding of the position. You see him in some twists sometimes, like he understands when to come off and when to help. I saw a couple clips of him where he's kind of slams off on a twist, and you can almost see him in his helmet yelling at the guard to come off on the loop man. There's a couple of screens when he's like waving to the running back to come behind him on screens, which again, the old school guy is going to sit there and say, hey man, get down the field and block somebody. But I think he does have really exceptional football awareness of just kind of everything that's happening. And he's got good vision too, because he sees things down the field and he finishes plays. That could be a screen 30 yards downfield. Could be a run play for 4-yard gain off left tackle. Love the way he runs his feet. Keeps a wide base for the majority of the time that he operates. So let's take a little bit of a different look at some of the film of Jordan Seaton, tackle heading to LSU. All right, first play we'll see here from Jordan Seaton, 77 at left tackles, one of those twists that I talked about. So the cutoff doesn't happen enough, and a lot of this is on the guard. Like he's got to get over there. His feet are a little bit too wide for him to be able to stop and actually stop that penetrator. But what I want you to notice is right there, Jordan Seaton's beat. I mean, he's beat inside. Doesn't even actually get a punch on the opposite end of that defender. He does get it inside. But look where his hips are there as opposed to where he's going to get him in just a moment back in front of that defender. You see initially that defender's got him beat across his face. He's able to recover. Look at the feet. I mean, that second step when he has to go back inside, that foot's way under him, which means you have no ability to anchor right there. And then he's able to get his body back in front of that defender, wall him off, get his hands inside, extend, and begin to anchor to keep that defender off of his quarterback as he's trying to penetrate inside and be able to dent that pocket. It's not a perfect rep. I'm not trying to say that it is. People can pick it apart all they want. All I'm showing you here is an elite ability to control his body and to find ways to get a guy blocked and not hit his quarterback. And it's an exceptional job of probably being beat a little bit early. I love the set initially. It's clean. His hips are square. He's got decent bends. He's got his hands ready to punch. He's got a great punch, by the way. But the ability to recover here is what we're focused on because it is beyond next level. All right, we'll take a look at another pass set here from Jordan Seaton, 77, working on the left side. This is some of that creativity we talked about. All right, so look at that right hand. He's trying to stab with the inside hand, give up outside to force that defender to come to his outside and then probably run him past the pocket. Now, one of the things that we'll nitpick him on is sometimes his pad level gets a little bit high. Sometimes he could bend a little bit more in the lower body. That's something he can work on. That's something that can continue to come. But look at the wide base, always keeps those feet apart, begins to anchor as that defender is getting a little bit of a push on him. But first off, the ability to punch with one hand, follow up with the second hand. The hips are also open, which I don't like, but it's that ability to recover. Watch the hips flip back towards the quarterback. Take a picture of that quarterback with your rear end right there, and then anchor down and not let that defender off to be able to finish the pressure on the quarterback. I'm going to show you reps that aren't perfect. I'm not going to show you the dominant reps from these guys every time. I'm going to show you reasons that I think with a little further improvement and a little further coaching that this player can be elite, good, average, whatever at the next level with his new team. There are traits that you see here. I mean, I think he's almost a little bit forward in his stance when the defender arrives. But once again, it's that ability to keep a wide base, flip the hips back towards the quarterback, wall that defender off. He has an innate ability to use his body to wall himself off from the quarterback, which is going to make it more difficult. Then think about it. If the defender has to go through you to get to the quarterback, it's going to be much more difficult to get a hit. Jordan Seaton consistently does that and shows me he has a great understanding of the pocket, spatial awareness, and most off just control of his body, which is completely different than a lot of guys at his size that I've ever seen. Jordan Seaton, 77, you see him there at left tackle. Just the finish, the drive, the determination. Pad level's too high here. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Needs to come off a little bit lower. Needs a little more ankle flexibility. You see how that toe's angled out towards the sideline? That would help him just a little bit. But look at the finish. Look at the drive. Watch those feet chop as soon as he gets off the football. Nice punch. And that defender arrives a little bit quickly. And so he had to actually adjust the punch a little bit to make sure that it got there, but he doesn't wait on the punch. He adjusts the punch, makes it a little bit shorter, and gets a strike on that defender. But really, guys, it's the finish right here. You're not going to impress me with an offensive line as an offensive lineman if you don't finish. If you don't run your feet and try to play through the whistle, and this young man does that on a fairly consistent basis. This is one where doesn't even win with both hands inside. This is brute strength and power and want to and desire. You give me that, we're going to find a way to win with you. So from a run game perspective, this is where I think Jordan Seaton's really going to be able to help LSU next year as well. A guy that plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. All right, another pass set here from Jordan Seaton, 77. Nice clean set. Look how quick the set is in maintaining a base, but then you're going to get the twist inside. It's not a great job collectively stopping that penetrator. But when 71 decides to come off here, Watch Jordan Seaton, once again, flip those hips back in front of the quarterback to wall himself off in between the defender and the quarterback. It's a magnificent job. Just having the strength and the ability to be able to do that, the wherewithal of where the pocket actually is. I think he actually peeks and sees the quarterback there. And you can see him kind of talking to his guard saying, hey, loop man's coming inside. You need to go help right there. But watch that rear end go from pointing to the sideline to him flipping it back around almost right at the quarterback. This is uncanny. Like this is 330 pounds are not supposed to be able to do this. First off, the change of direction, too, to be able to get back into a penetrator. You guys have seen me post clips all the time of the penetrator on a twist. His job right there is to tee off on the tackle and knock him down. Obviously, he doesn't do that, but Jordan Seaton's ability to be able to squeeze back inside when he's nowhere near in front of that defender. He gets that one right arm on, pulls himself back in front, and able to wall off himself in between the quarterback and the defender. It's uncanny what we're seeing here. The athletic ability of this young man and how he moves and how he's able to manipulate his body to be able to help keep defenders off his quarterback. I'm going to tell you what. LSU got a good one coming into play left tackle for him, and some of these reasons we're showing you right here are going to be why. All right, lastly, one of my favorite clips I'm going to pull of Jordan Seaton. And guys, listen, I get it. He didn't block anybody. He didn't do anything. He missed his man. That's fine. Watch how quickly he gets out of his stance and gets into his pull. I mean, it's one little sidestep, and he feels like he's two gaps over. The ability also, when he does not see that edge defender rush, never gets completely off balance. You see so many offensive linemen, when someone runs past them, they get completely turned around. They completely change direction, not able to recover, take themselves out of the play to look back at this defender and then just take a step back to the left, have to avoid the running back, then get a little bit of a block on the defensive lineman that's coming downfield and go look for more work after that. It's just unbelievable. And then, get a little talking going there at the end of the play. But get out of the stance quickly. Guys, it's not 330 pounds right there. There's no way that 330 is moving like that. It's just not. Then redirect for someone that runs past you. Keep your momentum going upfield. Keep your shoulders square after you have to kind of try to avoid your running back. Get north and south. Get a little bit of a block on a defender. And then go look for more. I think you guys would probably watch me if you're new. Maybe you haven't. I don't really overhype guys too much. I don't, like to be like, oh, best I've ever seen, best ever. But all I'm going to tell you is, and once again, this is not like a dominant rep. This is not him being a bench escort and knocking a guy into the first row of the stands. You have to look a little bit deeper sometimes. The traits are beyond next level for this young man. God did not intend 6'5", 330 to do these kind of things. Like, he's moving like an NBA small forward on the football field. And he has legitimate mass and knows how to use it and knows how to redirect it and knows how to be strategic with how big he is and what his frame's capable of doing to keep people from making plays and to dominate defenders at times. Can the motor go just a little bit more? Absolutely. Can the lower body become more flexible, which is going to help his pad level, which has got to improve in the run game more consistently? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're talking about one of the best tackles in the SEC day one that he puts an LSU uniform on. I don't think that's arguable. I don't think that's debatable. What's the ceiling? I think it's high. A lot of that's going to come down to him. There's a lot of other tackles in this league that people see how they move, what their feet are, their punch, look like they're going to be great. It doesn't pan out. But when I see the finish from Jordan Seaton, it tells me that I probably have some of what I need inside in the intestinal fortitude for him to be able to turn that into being a great player. And he's going to be surrounded by some people, some of the offensive linemen that have played there previously, some of the folks are going to be around him. They're going to push. I don't think there's another group of former players that pushes maybe like LSU's does, because they're in that facility working out. You know what they've gone and done in the NFL. He'll have a few of those around. They're going to push him as well. Interested to see what he's going to look like this year for LSU. Bayou Bengal fans, be excited about what you have coming in at left tackle in Jordan Seaton. Don't forget about my friends at Rhoback. There it is. There's the logo. Rhoback.com. Use promo code COLE20. Save 20% on your first order at Rhoback. This is one of the hoodies I have, one of the lighter ones, but I've got the heavier hoodies over in the back because the weather has been chilly. It's definitely cooled off. You have the vest that you can go get at Rhoback. You have that fleece quarter zip, which is amazing, so comfortable. The thick hoodies are my favorite, though. You got pants, joggers that you can go get, belts, hats. Rhoback's got it all. T-shirts with hoods on them, long sleeve T-shirts, and they got the team gear from all of the SEC schools that you're going to need. Go to Rhoback.com today and use promo code COLE20 to save 20% on your first order. All right, next let's talk about more offensive linemen. You guys know this show. Like, we're going to stay on the trenches. We're going to keep our hand in that date. Let's talk about Alabama and how they're going to replace some of what they're losing on their offensive line. Almost went and got a carbon copy of one of the best pieces on their football team that they had last year, and that's Parker Brailsford. Transfer from Washington. He's going to be moving on to the NFL. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be on an NFL team for a long time. He was dinged up late. I think he got a little too light later in the season. Part of that from not being healthy, and him not being able to really push and drive off that ankle was giving him some problems. You could tell, you could see it in film. And as I've stated multiple times, I felt like for the majority of his time at Alabama, specifically last year, he was the best football player on that team. He and Jeremy Bernard had put up against anybody else as far as contributions in different ways with what they did, which makes Racin Delgatty very interesting. 6'3", 300, all right, from Cal Poly, a center that has some versatility and can come in and play different positions, do different things. But because of some of those things that he does in a different way, I think is what he's going to offer from a value standpoint for this Alabama football team. Now, this is a team that's going to use gap scheme. They're going to use zone. We've seen more outside run, outside zone from Alabama at times over the past calendar year. He's quick enough, agile enough to be able to do that. He is an excellent puller. He can get out in space quickly. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't take false steps. He has a great punch. Technically, fundamentally, he is very sound. His hands are inside the majority of the time. That hat placement, play side, wherever it needs to be, is usually on point. Some of the knocks, he plays light. He is light. And that was the thing that everybody said about Brailsford. But listen, I watched Brailsford on a Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line at Washington and had no doubts that he would be able to do it. That was a little different level of competition that I watched him again. Delgatty, I saw him against Utah, holding his own. He's played against some elite defensive linemen and not gotten bullied on a consistent basis. If he's not anchored, it's a bit of a problem. He needs to see that pressure coming. He needs to see those hits coming in order to be able to withstand it, maintain it, and be able to anchor against it. I think he's got the possibilities of being able to do it. And also, as we stated with Jordan Seaton, the desire is going to be there. This kid likes to play football. He plays the game the way you want to see him play the game. He will finish. He'll give you some of that edge, which I think since Tyler Booker's been gone, Alabama's needed a lot of it. And they're going to need a lot of it this year because Brailsford brought some, and they just haven't had it to the extent that they need. If they're going to get that run game back, I think Racin Delgatty is going to be a big reason why it actually happens on the capstone. So let's take a look at what we like about this young man at center. All right, first play, we talked about the ability to move, the ability to pull. Great contact with that outside defender who's on a bit of a rush. You might, here's what people are going to say. Oh, it's a cornerback. That's fine. He's got about a 15-yard head start too. But look at the ability to quickly get out, takes one step. He's flat down the line of scrimmage, understands contact is there unexpectedly, gets the pad level down, runs the feet, and then finishes the play most importantly. So agile enough to be able to open up, pull, get out in space, and then enough body control to understand, hey, I might have to make some adjustments here. It's not just going to be a one track and go every single time. And that dummy's going to be where it is in practice every single day. That's the hard part about playing live football. The things that you practice, they don't always end up there in the game. And you have to make those mental adjustments like that if you're going to do something like this from Racin Delgatty. All right, one more from Racin Delgatty here at center. Awareness, seeing that linebacker walking up late. Don't stick around and help your guard out. You got to get up on him now. Physical at the point of attack. He'll probably get that left hand inside and a little bit more, but just look at the finish there. Runs the feet, continues to drive, puts that defender into the dirt. So awareness of the front, what's happening, understanding when to leave, when to stay, how to operate at center, going to be big for Alabama. I think he can actually help them there a bunch. Not going to lose a ton from Parker Brailsford. Physicality, the desire is going to be there. It's just the overall strength, how heavy he can get, and the ability to withstand it week in, week out in the SEC. It's a little bit of a question mark. I'm not going to say that it's not. I'm not going to go ahead and guarantee that this is going to be a dominant center in the Southeastern Conference week in, week out, but somebody who I do think it has a chance because of his skill set, because of how technically and fundamentally strong he is, to be able to come in and help this Alabama offensive line right out of the gate. All right, guys, if you're lacking energy, feeling on edge, you need to go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now is going to help you feel better and get back to your better self. That could be losing weight. It could be peptides. It could be testosterone replacement. Multiple ways that they can help you. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for that free consultation. Offices all over the Southeast. And when you do, they're going to give you the free PSA test, free testosterone test, let you know where your baseline health is, and then give you options to help you feel better at Game Day Men's Health. Great staff, great people, not going to try to push you into things that you don't need. And the upfront cost is at a bare minimum at Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and sign up for that free consultation. Why not? All right, so now let's go off the beaten path a little bit. All right, take a little bit of a flyer on a guy that's going to be added to a roster that I don't think anybody's talking about. All right. And I heard a little bit of juice about this kid and somebody saying he might be able to help, maybe keep an eye on him. I think he was recruited a little bit more highly than we would anticipate coming out of high school. And it's a quarterback coming into the SEC. But we have so many big name quarterbacks coming into this league, like Sam Leavitt, that this one's going to probably fall through the cracks. Byron Brown, another big name, is a guy that he's going to probably back up. Does he ever become the starter at Auburn? I don't know. But it's Tristan Ti'a from Oregon State, 6'2", 205. Played in, I think, 3 games last year, 37 of 53, which is 70%, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 13 carries for minus 38 yards. He had a couple sacks that he took. All right, so he's filling in later in the year as a starter for a game. Got a couple of patchwork time that you got to see him operate a little bit. But I heard about him, so I went and watched the film, and I'm thinking, man, this actually might be a guy that adds real value to the roster. If you need him for 2 series, if you need him for 2 games in the middle of the season, maybe down the line he actually does become the starter. He knows the offense, which I think some of the tools that he brings are going to be very helpful in Alex Golesh's offense and how they run it and what the quarterback's going to be asked to do. So here you go. First clip that we'll watch. Look at the calm, poise in the pocket, layering the football, understanding how to get the ball up and over a defender. Nice soft ball where the tight end can go attack the football and be able to make a catch. I'll give you the wide copy of this one too. And just see, look, gets back to his drop, confident, poise in the pocket, knows where he wants to deliver the football, doesn't overthrow it, doesn't try to throw that thing on a rope. So touch on the ball, ability to understand when the ball needs to come out. He's obviously good at reading coverage. Some of the timing throws that he made, I was impressed with. But this one, be able to squeeze it in over some coverage. Really liked what I saw from this young man, Tristan Ti'a. All right, next one, a little bit different from Tristan Ti'a. I love his poise in the pocket. He will stand in there and make a throw. Probably knows he's going to take a hit here. That pocket's dented, so you got pressure right in his face. But watch him understand how this receiver, tight end, is going to reroute, and he puts the ball back to where he's actually altering his route to keep it away from the defender, give him a ball that he can catch, and then get on the move with, knowing that he's going to take a hit. I saw him do this multiple times in this game. Pressure's coming, understand that it's going to be there, maybe move, shuffle a little bit in the pocket. Here's the thing, he doesn't have any rush yards per se because of the sacks he's taken, but he is nimble. He can move around extremely well. He can change up that arm angle on you, and he gets the ball out quick. It's deceiving. It looks like an elongated delivery at times, but when the ball needs to come out quick, he kind of alters it, and he can spit that thing out in a hurry. So impressed with what I see with him in the pocket, toughness, capability of understanding where pressure's coming from, when to get the football out. He can make some of the quick throws, fairly accurate. 2 of the interceptions I did see, he was either under pressure or taking a hit, so you're not going to blame all of that on him. Does try to force the ball at times somewhat. Throws a nice deep ball down the field, but an example here of a little bit of that toughness, understanding maybe how a ball is going to need to go to a receiver who's rerouting, and then being able to fit it in as well. So just a little bit of a picture there of what Auburn's quarterback situation may look like down the road. Tristan Ti'a, a guy that I think has multiple arm angles, has enough arm strength. I'm not going to qualify him as a big arm guy or a huge arm guy that can just rocket that thing wherever he needs it, but does understand timing, when to get the ball out quickly. Gets to the back of his drop, knows that ball needs to come out. A lot of routes over the sideline. He knew where the ball needed to be placed on the receiver and did a good job putting it there. We saw here, not afraid to challenge the middle of the field, which is something so many quarterbacks, in my opinion, are absolutely terrified of, and they're just not going to do it. You saw him attack the middle of the field multiple times, not afraid to stand in the pocket and take a hit. I love the toughness. So I bring this one up to show you just one that maybe not an impact guy right now, maybe doesn't add true value to the roster this upcoming season. But if he sticks around for a little while, with some of the play fakes that he's been asked, some of the read plays, the RPOs, a lot of it with how he manipulates the football and how he's capable of doing that, he's going to have to do it in Alex Golesh's offense, and he's already got a lot of experience operating in a very similar way. I think he's got good feet, nimble feet, quick release. There's just a lot to like about a guy that I absolutely knew nothing about. Had not heard his name. It was brought up to me. I went and watched him and said, you know what? Maybe some of the viewers are going to want to know about Tristan Ti'a, a guy that could help the Auburn quarterback room down the road. All right, you guys already know about getting back into the hobby. My friends, go to fanaticslive.com or the Fanatics Live app right there. And then go find my friends at Pizza Pull if you're looking to get back into the hobby. A lot of reasons to do it. The college football cards, as we talk college football cards here, search pizza, find Pizza Pulls in shops right there. So bam, bam, there it is. And you're going to see a college football break every week. Do we have that full case posted? Not yet. It's going to be posted here in the next day or so. We're going to do another full case of Bowman Chrome U Breakers Delight. It'll be about 30 autos from that break next Wednesday. What have we pulled here recently? Oh, I don't know. Just a Lenora Sellers printing plate, 1 of 1. right there. That one was pretty sweet. How about the Lenora Sellers 55 Bowman throwback to 99 that we pulled there? That one was good. Always loved the Pavia auto from Bowman Best. We got that one. We've been hitting, a little Sam Levitt to 5 on the auto. That one's always good. Love seeing that one right there for Sam Levitt heading over to LSU. We talked about him a little bit on the show today. How about the dual auto for Texas to 25? Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill Jr. Couple dudes right there. That one's fun. We got OJ Frederick, made some plays in the playoffs down the stretch on the Sapphire. That one's out of 5 also. Got a little Riley Leonard, National Treasures, patch auto. Look at that patch. Look at that Notre Dame patch right there. That thing's gorgeous. Everybody loves Riley Leonard. Tough kid. How about the Kool-Aid McKinstry prospect patch auto from Flawless? National Treasures, 3 of 3 right there for you Alabama fans. Available if you want. I got to show y'all this one, my man. Dylan Sampson, SEC Player of the Year. Look at this thing. 5 of 11 for Dylan Sampson on the booklet. Whoa. Come on, folks. The orange and white patch in the black uniform with the second patch on the Volunteers logo with the Shadowbox auto. I'm telling you, man, you got to come over there and break with us. If you want to get back in the hobby, you're looking for college football cards, we'll roll into NFL cards soon. They got the good stuff at Pizza Pulls. Go to pizzapulls.com or find them on Fanatics Live today. We're there every Wednesday. Come hang out with us. All right, so there you go. Just a couple players. We're going to try to hit them each week, give you a few that you can see, maybe some you've heard of, some you haven't heard of, what we like about them, and not just the obvious plays of these guys going out and dominating or doing something special. Some of the things that go a little bit deeper as to why they could help now, why they could help down the road, and maybe what value they're actually going to bring to these new rosters that they're going to be landing on inside the SEC. Please subscribe to the show. If your friends hadn't heard about it, tell them, go check us out wherever you get your podcasts as well. Subscribe to us on socials. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter @CubeShow. And we'll be back next week.